Viewer discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh!
And just moan
Wail!
into the microphone.
Y'all, I have been so sick for the last 48 hours. I'm like finally made a turn today. But I've just been like a bedridden Victorian child for the last 2 fucking days. All I've eaten is yogurt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
It's been rough. So I could bring myself to bathe, but I could not bring myself to dry my hair, put on a bra, or any makeup.
Oh, God, no.
But I'm here, bitch.
That's way too much. I'm so glad.
Me too.
You, Amanda, are here.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well as
I'm
me,
Amanda.
Lucy.
Nice to meet you.
It's good to
The pleasure
finally
is
meet.
all mine. The pleasure.
I'm glad that you are feeling better today, Amanda, specifically because you are going to get a chance to fucking rage.
I'm going to try to keep myself contained.
Why?
I don't want to throw up. I don't want to make myself puke. But
Yeah, well, that's good.
yeah, this topic is a fucking doozy.
It is. We have done we have similar previous topic, and I am confident we're going to have future similar topics.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Today we have a very special fan pick from Ashley and Shelley. Sweet girls.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley and Shelley. It's spelled Shelly, but I'm sure it's Shelley.
We'll see. We'll see when they email us to
A&C.
offer a corrective.
Oh my God. I got to ask for their forgiveness in advance, but we'll get to it. Ashley and Shelley have selected the topic of killer cops.
Yes. And so I thought I would feature my Christmas gift from Lucy.
It's a cab.
A cab.
A cab.
I'm obsessed. Do you remember the artist's name? Because I can't make it out from their signature.
Yep. Her name is Jennifer Leatherby. And she is a fantastic artist. And I got Amanda this.
I fucking
print.
love it so much.
It's a yellow taxi cab, and then on top it just says a cab.
It's a cab.
It's a cab.
That's all it is a cab.
I know you'd love it, but yeah.
I do. I love it.
Let me see what her TikTok is. I'll shout her out. Jen's TikTok is the Jennifer Leatherby.
Love.
Traditional spelling.
Love that print. Love it so much.
She also does like these really pretty, like delicate florals.
Ooh, gorgeous.
Abstract florals. I have one of those in June's room. It's pretty great. Pretty great.
How cute.
Okay. Killer cops.
Yep.
Killer cops. This is going to be a rough one. I think that we should go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for killer cops?
Beans is preemptively climbing into my lap to comfort me. I am not drinking for obvious reasons. I'm on the edge of death at all times. But our fan picker wanted to shout out South Africa's Orange River Cellars and specifically their Hedgehog Sauv Blanc.
Oh.
I don't know if, I tried to find where you could get this wine. I don't know if they sell it in the States. So, I mean, I'm not sure where our fan pickers are from or if they have simply been to this winery before and really loved it. I'm not sure of the context, but it does.
I've got it for us.
Oh, okay, great.
Ashley says, my best friend Shelley picked a wine pairing as well. Okay, so the case that they wanted me to cover is the case of a gal named Samantha. And they were friends with her personally. So
wow.
They Ashley says Sam loved hedgehogs. She had a couple as pets over the years. The wine is expensive and so is the shipping, so we'd be okay if you guys just mentioning it as a pairing. She wasn't much of a wine drinker anyway.
It's a tribute wine
It's
to
a
their
tribute.
friend.
Yes, it's a tribute. And yeah, the case that I'm going to cover is very close to the hearts of our fan pickers. So I really hope I don't fuck it up.
I mean, we try to treat every case with care, and your best is all you can do.
Sometimes there's a notably less of a distance between a case that your fan picker chooses because it's close to them.
Sometimes I think that's good for people like us who work in the true crime space to like really be humbled and reminded of the people, the human beings that are at the center of a lot of the heinous shit that we talk about. So, it's not always mentally easy to do that, but
it is important.
It is important. And most important things are not mentally easy to do.
No.
But that makes this even more special. So, yeah, you can order it through orangeriverwines.com. Specifically, the Hedgehog Sauv Blanc, it is a cracker, which I fucking love. I love a twist off, especially for a white wine. It just makes it so much easier to bring to the lake. This is an easy drinking Sauvignon Blanc with a light yellow and green color and notes of guava, gooseberry, and passion fruit.
Guava.
Baby. This wine is well balanced with a hint of tropical fruit and a mineral finish, which I love.
Ooh.
It is 100% Sauv Blanc. It is from the Northern Cape region of South Africa. I looked on the map. It's not where we've been, like the Stellenbosch area, but it's not that far. That's like a vast viticultural region across the northern part of South Africa. Really beautiful, incredible climate for wine production. Like South African wines are stunning. I mean, they get the ocean, they get the like special rock, they get the good moderate temperate climate so that they have a nice long growing season. It doesn't get too cold.
It's a really unique area.
Yeah, it's freaking beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's not like any other, like topography wise, it's not like any other place I've ever been.
Yeah. They recommend drinking this easy drinking wine on a hot summer's day, and it complements spicy or light pasta and fish dishes. Get out of here.
I love both of those things.
She is 11.7% ABV. So for a white, that's actually like pretty decent, like a pretty decent ABV, but it's not going to kill you.
Could still drink it during the day.
Yeah. She's a cracker. Medium bodied, finishes really nice and dry, and you can age it up to 2 years.
Forgot to light my
So
candle.
if you want to get a nice treat and honor this lovely young woman, then check out orangeriverwines.com and look at the Hedgehog Sauvignon Blanc. And the label is so cute. It's got a cute little hedgehog on it.
Of course it is.
Obsessed. So I'll be enjoying my sparkling water. I'm not even puffing the herb today.
Oh, you are sick.
I know.
I've got us covered. Don't worry.
God
Mama's
bless.
got your back.
So should we take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors and then dive into this really rough topic?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. We just got off a really fun call planning some of our travel for next year, and we have some really fun travel coming up in just the next few months. And packing is sometimes a stressful experience, but it is really fun when you're excited about all your fun little outfits that you can bring on vacation.
I'm already doing it in my mind.
Yeah, baby. Vacation season is here, okay? And this year I am treating myself to the luxe upgrades I deserve with Quince's high-quality travel essentials at fair prices.
Very fair. So they've got stuff like lightweight European linen styles from $30, washable silk tops. I'm a clumsy woman.
Oh, yeah. You're a mom.
I need washable. And also comfy lounge sets with premium luggage options and stylish tote bags to carry it all. I also have one of Quince's Italian leather laptop backpacks. It's so dang cute.
So cute.
And the best part is all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. I am consistently shocked by how fair their prices are.
Truly.
By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings onto us. Thank you, Quince. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, which we love. I think in a few weeks, Amanda, you and I are going to Lake Pepin, Wisconsin, for just a little getaway with our friends. It's so low stakes, and for some reason, I'm so excited to wear, like, the cutest outfits.
Yeah, I am ready to dust off my little romper, my Quince romper.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Me too. So for your next trip, treat yourself to the luxe upgrades you deserve from Quince. Go to quince.com/wine for 365-day returns, plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/wine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/wine.
I don't have time during the day to like cook a full meal. So I eat a lot of sandwiches, which translates into a lot of bread. And sometimes eating a whole sandwich worth of bread just leaves me feeling kind of
bloated,
bloated, not great. So when we heard about Hero Bread and got some samples from Hero Bread, I was astonished by how delicious it is.
Me too. I'm going to be fully honest. I wasn't sure what the whole Hero Bread thing was about. And then I tried it without even like knowing that it was like low net carb. And I didn't even notice until after when I was reading the label.
I know. I was eating I got the little Hawaiian slider buns.
Oh, those are so good. I went through those so fast.
Listen, I ate a lot of them in a very short amount of time, but it helps you. The Hero Bread helps you with your gut health goals. And while you can still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience that you love guilt-free. I ate probably 4 of those rolls and then I was like, what is this? I looked at the package and I'm like, oh, good, it's healthy.
Every time I walked through my kitchen, I just grabbed one and smeared some butter on it. And like, that was my snack for like a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their baked goods are delicious and flavorful, but also have ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and are high in fiber. So you can feel good about the bread that you're eating.
I love bagels, but like being a type 1 diabetic does not mean bagels love me back. And this has been my solution to my yearning for bagels, because I can seriously eat a delicious bagel with cream cheese and not have it completely derail my blood sugar for the rest of the day. It's like actually a miracle. I'm obsessed. I'm so excited about the Hero Classic Plain Bagel. This has 4 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and 19 grams of protein. So I've been making it a habit to eat one of those with like some chunky peanut butter on it, toasted.
Oh, yum.
And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling full. I have energy. And like, again, it's not messing with my blood sugar numbers, which is just a miracle.
I'm here for the cheddar biscuits.
Oh, those are so good. And like I said earlier, you would not know that it's low net carb from the texture. You get this soft, fluffy experience that you know and love with your next savory breakfast sandwich, a late night grilled cheese. I made grilled cheeses a little bit ago with some bacon on them with this bread. It fries so well in the butter and the bread was like nice and crispy. Oh, it's perfect.
I would argue that you're not only are you not compromising with the texture and flavor, but it's a step up.
Oh, it
from,
absolutely
my
is.
normal bread choices.
Yeah, I made like taquitos. I did like taco meat and salsa, and I like rolled them up in their tortillas, and then I put some cheese on them and finished them in the oven, and they were like fluffy like a flout. Oh, they were so good. I can't even believe it. So yeah, no compromises, just flavor, ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber, and all your favorite recipes are really covered. They've got sliced bread loaves, they've got tortillas, they got bagels, they have those Hawaiian rolls, and you can do a monthly small batch of indulgent favorites like the popular 2-gram net carb Hero croissant. And they also put out new surprises coming each month this year. So like, sign up. Don't miss out on this. You want to see what's coming next from Hero Bread. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code GALS at checkout. That's GALS at HERO.co. Missing out on a show that everyone is talking about is not an option for me. You know I have terminal FOMO, okay? So as a result, I am often signing up for a streaming service or another service to get that like 10-day free trial. And then my ADHD kicks in, and months later, I realize I have still been paying for that service long after I binged that show. Okay. So if you're like me, you need to get Rocket Money because this was a game changer. They will find your unwanted subscriptions and even help you cancel them so you never have to worry about them slipping through the cracks.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I log into Rocket Money probably like once a month just to kind of give myself an overview. And let me tell you, I feel so fiscally responsible.
Truly.
Like, oh, my dad would be so proud.
So proud.
Their dashboard is very easy to navigate. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place. You can know exactly where your money's going. It's not just subscriptions. It's like everything you're spending money on and from which accounts. And for subscriptions that you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Thank you very much. It can help you create a personalized budget with custom categories to help you keep your spending on track. You can see your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money's going. Oops, too much DoorDash this month.
Yup.
I say to myself every month. You also get alerts if bills increase in price, if there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over your budget. Rocket Money's like, hey, pal.
Hey, let's dial it back.
Yeah, just dial it back a little bit. You don't need that. You don't need that Starbucks.
Take
Hey,
a
can I
seat.
cancel this random newspaper that you've had for 3 years that you forgot about?
Sure
Yes,
can.
thank you. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save, and then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service, leaving you to not have to deal with customer service.
It's a miracle.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features.
That's a trip. That's a weekend getaway, babe.
Yeah.
So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gals today. That's rocketmoney.com/gals, rocketmoney.com/gals.
So, as alluded to, this is your fair warning. We're going to go hard on cops today, obviously. So, I have former police officers in my family. So, I have complex emotions about police, which I think is always good to hold the complexities. You know, this is not a simple topic, but if this is going to offend you or trigger you in any way and you know you're going to be upset about it, just
Turn it off
now.
Don't email us. We're not going to read
We
it.
have 400 some other episodes for you to choose from.
Yep.
So here's your warning. Don't email us.
Nope. This
You
is
don't
not
need
a
to
Blue
agree.
Lives Matter podcast.
No.
Sorry.
Are you new here?
Yeah.
She doesn't even go here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't
And
need
I'm
to agree.
not sure if Karen Reed did it, but it's not because I am anti-cop. The evidence just is not fucking adding up. Okay.
I haven't watched that documentary yet. I'm excited.
When Justin and I were driving back to Boston from Josh's birthday party in the Berkshires.
Oh, a long time ago.
Well, not that long. I mean, it was just this past summer. We saw a bunch of the Free Karen Reed protesters on an overpass. They are hardcore. Boston is
Cool.
truly a city divided when it comes to Karen
Cops.
Reed.
Were they both cops or was just he the cop?
He was a cop. John O'Keefe, I think is his name. He was a cop.
Careful where you step, John. Sorry. Did he die?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, whatever. So you don't need to agree with every sentiment that we have, but at the very least, be open-minded. Like I said, it is important to hold complex ideas. So yeah, that's your warning. Maybe bye. Hopefully not. Okay, so the word cops is the informal term for people employed as police officers who are supposed to serve the public, but in reality are frequently beset with problematic ideologies blending extremism, racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, and also a big-time victim mentality, even though they are definitely not. And like, okay, fine. They often put themselves in harm's way to stop crimes. So do EMTs, firefighters, minimum wage retail workers, and teachers.
Pizza delivery driver is one of the most dangerous jobs in America.
cool.
Yeah.
From like firearms, like violence.
Mm-hmm. Robbery.
Whoa.
Carjacking, firearms. Yeah, I don't know if that's still currently true, but I read that a while back. I'll look it up.
Damn. Okay, so I wanted to sneak this in at the top. This is a quote from The Atlantic, an article that came out June 16th, 2020, June of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Little fraught time in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
The article was called "The Culture of Policing is Broken." Quote, all cruelty begins with dehumanization, not seeing the face of the other, not seeing the whole humanity of the other. A cultural regime of dehumanization has been constructed in many police departments. In that fertile ground, racial biases can spread and become entrenched. That was pretty succinct.
Yep.
Yeah. And what's the phrase? It's not one bad apple, the whole tree's fucked up.
Right.
It's our whole system.
One bad apple rots the whole barrel or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like my in-law, whoever, the police officer is a good person, is an individual good person.
Mm-hmm.
Like being a cop is not an automatic condemnation of like your person, like you as a individual. But
yeah,
like,
and I'm not like a cop sympathizer, but obviously, and we're gonna get to it. What modern policing is rooted in, and how intentional the distance from that origin story is to essentially whitewash and make palatable what this system comes from, and the ideologies that this system still holds very, very tightly. That is, white supremacist ideation. But that's not like at the forefront. Obviously, we as a society make cops into like heroes and community servants. And like there's been a lot of really positive propaganda around policing for a very long time. And obviously that's like starting to fray like so many other propagandized things that we've grown accustomed to. But yeah, I mean, all cops are bastards doesn't necessarily mean that the person who's a cop is like inherently a bad person, but that they have chosen. Now there's enough information out there to know that this is not a system that is good to be part of. Mm-hmm. And so continuing to make that choice has to make you question their value system and like where they stand. That's how I feel about it.
I think that's a very reasonable stance on that. So as you mentioned, I do have a brief history of police forces in the United States. Before actual policing, there was the Frank Pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Pledge, not Franken Pledge, although that would have been cooler.
The Franken Pledge.
Franken Pledge from a bridge. This was a system in medieval England under which all but the richest people were bound together by mutual responsibility to keep the peace. So they kind of like separated themselves into groups of roughly 100.
Mm-hmm. These were like working class and poor people doing
it was everyone
policing.
Who wasn't like nobility.
Uber rich. Yeah, okay.
So this was basically only enforced for the poor people, which already leads one to believe that policing is about power and not justice. Mm-hmm. So if one person within the 100 committed a crime, all of them would be punished if they didn't rat on each other.
Oh, shit.
So you can't really fuck up or else you're pretty much guaranteed to be...
Your neighbors are going to be turned in because they don't want to get fucked over.
No, and there's 100 of them. Mm-hmm. That's like the perfect amount to be sufficiently punished en masse, and also like
someone's gonna squeal.
Yeah, exactly. So there are two prevailing thoughts about how policing in America came to be, and they are both true and valid. Mm-hmm. But the first one's just a bit more fun than the second one, so I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
Many people in the U.S., not in the U.S., many people in general think that policing in the U.S. was inherited from the British common law system, which was already super old by the time the U.S. came into being. Mm-hmm. So we're going back to 1285.
Woo!
Ooh, boy. The Statute of Winchester stated that anyone, whether they were a constable or a regular old Joe, anyone who witnessed a crime shall make hue and cry, and that the hue and cry must be kept up against the fleeing criminal from town to town and from county to county until the felon is apprehended and delivered to the sheriff.
We should change the if see something, say something
To hue and cry.
to hue and cry.
I know.
I'd be more likely to hue and cry.
See something, hue and cry something.
Yeah. Hue
So
and
they
cry
just,
from
like-
town to town, county to county.
So they just chase the criminal around, yelling what they did. Like, pickpocket! Right there, he's a pickpocket! He stole a melon.
Yep.
Melon thief.
Public bullying.
And then they try to get other people to like join in with them. So there was just a stream of people chasing someone. It kind of
Listen,
sounds fun.
Don't underestimate the what's the word I'm looking for?
Efficacy of
The
public
efficacy
shaming.
of a public shaming. Yes, yes. Yes, thank you for being inside of my mind.
You're welcome. It's a scary place to be.
The efficacy of a public shaming. Yeah, that's exactly what I was fucking looking
You took
for.
the words out of my fucking frontal lobe.
I'm like actually a little creeped out right now. What's the word I'm looking for? The efficacy of a public shaming. Oh yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Holy shit. Get out of my brain.
I'm out. I'm officially out. Okay. So Boston was the first city of the 13 colonies to establish a group of volunteer night watchers.
Yeah. Policing in Boston runs deep.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
fuckers love their cops.
Yeah. Or half of them don't and
Right.
love Karen Reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one source said this was came about in 1631 and another one said 1635. Either way, they didn't start being paid until 1712. So these first several
volunteers.
decades was all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
The first constable on record was named Joshua Pratt, and he oversaw a group of 6 night watchers. I couldn't find a lot about him, like in terms of like a Wikipedia article.
Mm-hmm.
But when I Googled his name, I found a genealogy report on him.
Oh, God.
So, of course, I had to look at it. He emigrated to New England during the Puritan Great Migration in 1623 when he was just 18 years old.
Mm.
He married a woman named Bathsheba Fay.
Oh,
Bathsheba Fay.
Damien Faye's sister, Bathsheba Faye.
Yeah, they had 5 kids.
Oh, my God.
I just like
I like her name.
Bathsheba.
It
I
has
think
like
that's
kind
how
of
you
a
say it.
satanic ring to it.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Bathsheba.
Which is fitting as a cop's wife.
I picture her as just being like really, like just a really big lady. But like,
Like an Elizabeth Bathory type.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's
She
kind
doesn't
of...
need to like bathe in virgin's blood, but
No.
like, I don't know. I just pictured her as like kind of like the old woman in the shoe, but just like a great big fat lady with all these kids and just kind of like didn't take any shit.
God bless her.
But Sheba Faye, if that wasn't at all your personality, I'm so sorry. Don't
I think
haunt me.
she will forgive you since she's been dead
Don't
for
email
hundreds of
me.
years. Don't email me, Bathsheba Faye.
Okay, again, my old-timey sources are all over the place. In either 1658 or 1647
What
in New
difference
York,
does it make?
it doesn't fucking matter. Around then, in this somewhere in this 11-year
Year span.
factual gap, in New York, there was a rattle watch in the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam, which is now New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't New York then. Fires were super common back then because you needed an open flame for basically anything.
Yeah.
So if they would just patrol their neighborhoods. If they saw a fire, they'd bang on the door to alert the homeowner.
Yeah. Early
And they
fire,
also
fire people.
Yeah, and they also had these rattles, and I have a picture on the drive of one of the rattles if you want to see it.
Ew.
But they would just alert like everyone around, and then they would run to the church for which they had a key and ring the church bells.
Oh, wow.
So the whole town knew and could help put the fire out.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's like I was picturing like a baby rattle. It's not like that. It's like a spinning noisemaker.
It spins and like clicks.
Yep.
There's something on the inside that clicks, and it's just loud and annoying.
It's kind of a gnarly looking piece of equipment.
I feel like you could get your fingers pinched in there.
Yeah.
So a rattle watch like I said, was a group of people that would patrol the city. They also discouraged crime in addition to letting people know that their shit was burning down.
Well, yeah, you'd hear the sound and then it's like, oh shit, the night watch is out here. I better fuck off.
Mm-hmm. I better not be sneaking around.
Or I'm going to get hued and cried.
Exactly. They're going to hue me.
They're going to hue me.
They worked from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. Also, so in addition to their patrolling, they also screamed out the hour on the hour.
All night?
And the weather.
Fuck off.
So they'd be like, 2 o'clock, raining.
Helpful.
Cool. Thanks for waking me up to let me know that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't know. So that must have been great. They also carried green lanterns with them. I think just the glass was green. Obviously, it wasn't the flame. I don't know why I felt like I had to explain that.
They were all wizards.
They hung them on the front door of their watch house to let people know that they were on the job. They were on duty. And today, many police departments still have a green light on the front door to communicate the department's vigilance. Okay. This was the first municipality-funded police force because before then, they were paid by private citizens.
Okay.
So the rich people could be like, hey, make sure you hang out around my house.
Yeah. Which is obviously not equitable.
Nope. They also had qualified immunity.
Oh, you don't say.
And I'm just going to say right now, I started going down the qualified immunity
It could have its
rabbit
own
hole. I think it needs
podcast.
to be its own episode, if not more, because
qualified immunity needs to be fucking eradicated.
I think it's important to learn about how it came about, why it still exists. There's plenty of history behind it. Obviously, this dates back to the 1600s. I think we need to come back to it because there was no fucking way I could fit anything meaningful about qualified immunity in my notes today.
No. This will not be the last episode where we talk about cops.
Good.
Promise you that.
Perfect. Here's a fun fact. In 1699, a 70-year-old woman was appointed to the watch, and she reportedly fucking crushed it.
I bet. The town gossip? Are you kidding me? Bitch knows everything.
However, there is plenty to point to that would say that modern policing came from the slave patrols of the southern colonies. The earliest such patrol is noted in 1700 in the Carolinas. These men were charged with establishing a system of terror. When I say they were charged for it, meaning they were tasked with it.
Yeah, it was their job.
With establishing a system of terror and to squash slave uprisings with the capacity to pursue, apprehend, and return slaves, quote-unquote slaves, to their quote-unquote owners. This is so fucking gross. This is the actual North Carolina slave patrol oath.
Oh, dear.
I feel so gross for just saying it. I, patroller's name, do swear that I will, as searcher for guns, swords, and other weapons among the slaves in my district, faithfully and as privately as I can, discharge the trust reposed in me as the law directs to the best of my power, so help me God. So these patrols existed all the way to 1865, which was the end of the Civil War, and also the passage of the 13th Amendment, which, as we know, outlawed slavery.
Yeah. And that's, to put it in perspective, that's barely 70 years before my grandma was born. So this is not
very
ancient
recent.
History. Yeah.
You can reach out and grab it. However, during Reconstruction, so post-war antebellum South, which was hobbled by racist whites, apathy from the northern states, and political compromise. Sound familiar?
Yep.
These patrols just morphed into private militia-style forces that were empowered to control and deny equal rights to freed Black Americans. So it was less formal, but they were very much still there.
Yeah.
And I think because it was less formal, it was could be more violent.
Oh, of course. They were not beholden to any federal or state sanctioned checks and balances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could just do whatever the fuck they wanted. So now they went even further because they would relentlessly enforce black codes. So these were local and state laws that would deny access to labor, voting rights, wages, and just freedom in general for formerly enslaved people. And this did not change when in 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified. This is the one that granted citizenship and equal rights and protections to all people born in the United States. So it technically provided equal protections to Black Americans, but as we know, wasn't enough.
Nope. Jim Crow, baby.
Jim Crow laws were established, and the oppressors relied heavily on police to violently and brutally enforce these laws all the way until the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, when the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act in 1965. So clearly the methodology of modern policing was definitely formed through racial oppression and violence to create a culture of fear for even law-abiding citizens. And while we still have lots and lots of issues relating to Black and other Americans of color when it comes to policing, we have made
some progress.
Some progress.
But yeah, that's kind of the argument around if you're like a Reformation person or an abolition person. I am definitely an abolition person because I just feel like the whole system needs to be completely eradicated and rebuilt. And, you know, we've had these long histories of quote unquote reforms that are really not.
They're not solving the root problem.
They're not solving the root problem, and they're not like authentic in any way. It's just like throwing more money at the police force and saying it's for, you know, training and DEI and shit like that. And it's like, okay, but then why do the stats still support that these ideations are still deeply ingrained in our justice system? And, you know, it's not just cops. It's like, it's the courts, it's child protective services. It's like everything that stems from the system of justice has a lot of fucking issues with white supremacy and racism.
So having said that, in your mind, what does abolition look like to you? Like concrete steps. When you say like burn the whole thing down, what does that
I mean, that's the crux of the issue is like, it's a huge thing to bite off. It's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I think that resource allocation needs to change. Like, I think defunding is a step toward abolition in moving money away from policing, while obviously we need some sort of smaller force that can help with like violent crime. That's not the majority of what modern day policing is handling. I think that they actually handle more, like way beyond their capacity and their skill set. It doesn't take a whole lot in the United States to become a police officer. And so we're putting a lot of unqualified people on the street to handle things like domestic violence issues, mental health issues, addiction issues, like all of these things that I think
houselessness issues.
Correct.
It's just a crime to not have a place to stay.
So it's like asking that question, it's like pulling a thread on a giant tapestry. We'd have to look at like, what is crime? What, like, we would have to reframe entirely as a society what we look at as criminal behavior. I don't see being unhoused, being an addict, being a victim of abuse, being mentally unwell. None of those things are crimes, in my opinion, but they are criminalized in basically every state in America. And so our solution is to pick them up and put them in jail, when I think that money should be allocated toward services and outreach to actually help. And like, when we provide people with their basic needs like housing, food, and healthcare, crime rates drop significantly, because most crime comes out of like acts of desperation and survival. And so we wouldn't need a massive police force to handle all of these social issues. We could have a modern day police force that is really only for highly violent, highly dangerous. You know, it's like the fire department handles fires and some first responder, like healthcare emergencies. The EMTs, first responder, healthcare emergencies, things like that. It's like, that's how I want to reform and like completely dissolve and then rebuild the policing, essentially. But obviously that's like a big thing to bite off, because a lot of ideation would have to change around what crime even is and what the causes of crime, as we see it in America, even are, to even go there. So it's frustrating because like there are a lot of studies around this process, and there are certainly organizations that devote themselves to that work that can talk about it way more clearly and succinctly with actual steps than I can. But it's such a polarizing issue because we have a huge divide in what we even deem as crime. And so that would have to fundamentally change or be rewritten for us to make those big steps.
And I think that policing in the US is so intrinsically tied to our military, which is so robustly, disgustingly funded that like it would be, it is like a string on a fucking tapestry.
It is.
They're everything. And then you get to the justice system and you get to corrections and prisons and things like that. It's like,
yeah, I mean, most prisons are privatized. It's slave labor. They were putting, incarcerated individuals on the front lines for the recent California wildfires and paying them like $2 a day.
I think it was $7 a day or $17. I also read recently, and I don't have any sources for this, but like it's either 2% or 5% of all like dispatches of fire trucks and firefighters are for fires. Like it's usually they come like as a supplement to an ambulance.
I mean, that's another thing that I would love to see is that we could have separate dispatch for certain incidents. Like I had to call 911. This was years ago. I haven't called the cops in a long time, but because there was a man who was not responsive, who was in my yard, and he is black, and Bill and I tried to wake him up. He wasn't responding. It was getting cold. It wasn't like winter, but it was cold enough that I didn't know if he would make it through the night staying there. And so when he didn't respond to us, I was like, I feel like we need to get an ambulance here to make sure that he's okay. And I called 911 because that's the only way you can get an ambulance dispatch. And I specifically asked for an ambulance and no police, and they still sent a cop. But we just stayed there until the ambulance had they got him awake. They made sure he was okay. They sent him on his way, and we didn't leave until he was safely on his way and the cops were gone. But even just something like that. I mean, I know that we have some emergency mental health dispatch services that will have a social worker come for a mental health emergency response. But, that's a huge thing. You see so many cases of specifically Black and brown people who are in mental health crisis, some of whom themselves call for help. Wasn't there a woman last year who was having an episode? She called for help. She was in her home and she had like a pot of boiling water for mac and cheese.
Yeah, she got shot in the face.
And they killed her in her home. It's like, this is not the comprehensive community care that humanity fucking deserves.
Agreed.
So yeah, I mean, I think a step in the right direction would be defunding and parceling off emergency response services to properly trained, properly educated individuals who can handle the nuanced situations of society and not just throw a cop at fucking everything, every call that comes in. It makes no sense.
And not privately funded.
No.
Yeah. I think that would be another tricky part is everything is trying to be made privatized. And it's like, that's not the way. That's not the right way. Because greed always wins.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some stats, which, by the way, are frequently self-reported from the cops themselves. So let's just assume that all of these numbers are much higher. Currently, there are 1.28 million sworn law officers in the United States, and that's compared to our current population of 340 million. Lots of cops. So there are definitely a lot more of not cops.
Yeah.
About 0.1% of those are federal officers. There are just under 18,000 police agencies in the United States. And in 2010, the FBI estimated that all of those law enforcement agencies made about 13.1 million arrests. Of that total, 74% of the arrestees were male, 69.4% were white people, and 28% were black. But if you're looking statistically at how many Black Americans make up the population, it's still wildly
disproportionate. And especially people who are like pro-cop love to look at those stats and be like, well, more white people are arrested, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, that's not the same thing as breaking down the statistics and seeing, it's you have to actually analyze the data and not just take it at face value.
Right. The average salary for a cop in the U.S. is $72,000 a year. Not bad.
Too much.
Arguably too much.
Yeah.
In 2017, 986 people were shot to death by law enforcement officers. In 2024, that number was over 1,200. And like I said, facts like this are hard to pin down. But if over this, 7-year period, we're getting 300 more people shot to death. And I think it's worth noting that this is after 2020. 2020 was in between these years. The Law Enforcement Epidemiology Project from the School of Public Health at the University of Illinois, Chicago, offers these 3 sobering statistics. 15% of civilians that experience police threat or use of force during legal interventions are injured.
Because police are way overpowered.
They'll just like twist your arm, throw you to the ground. 250,000 civilian injuries are caused by law enforcement officers annually, and about 75,000 of those victims require hospital treatment. It's not just a bruise.
No, and it's also not just shootings. Like, we had an overhaul of police car chases in Minnesota, and I thought they were supposed to have essentially been outlawed. Like, you cannot engage in dangerous pursuit, but then obviously that's like such a vague thing when you're leaving it up to the cop that's like running on pure adrenaline and assholery to decide if it is a dangerous enough situation to constitute pursuit. But like people die in car crashes over police pursuit for shit like a traffic stop.
Do you remember, this was a long time ago, like I think we were in high school, there was a cop who was driving someone else to a Twins game downtown.
Oh, I don't know if I know this.
And was flying down 394. I think it was 394. And they hit something and they both died. And like, I think other people died or at least got hurt.
And they were just trying to get to a Twins game. It wasn't even like
a Twins game.
Oh, fuck off.
I just remember that.
Yeah.
I don't have any, whatever. We'll look into it. Don't email me. Okay. More than 600 individuals are killed by police each year on average, while Black people make up a whopping 6.1% of the total U.S. population, like we were just discussing. Almost 25% of all people killed by police are Black. So proportionately, we're not quite there. You're definitely killing some people because they're Black.
Yep.
And in case the human toll doesn't really strike a chord with you, an article from 2018 by the University of New Hampshire Law Review says that American police officers shoot about 10,000 dogs every year.
Yeah.
They're just out here killing dogs. Jesus. Killing whoever. They're trigger happy. I'm so sorry, but I had to talk about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. You know, America's toughest sheriff.
You had to.
I had to, because when I thought about bad cops, I was like, this fucking guy. This fucking guy.
Also, was he BPD?
BPD?
Boston? Or no?
No, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Maricopa County. Joe, well, he was born in Massachusetts.
Well,
was he
shit.
Boston? No, I don't think so. No, he wouldn't. No. He was born in Massachusetts on June 14th, 1932. He's a Gemini. Also, he consumed plenty of lead, and he's so fucking old at this point. Like, we can already write this man off.
Yeah, bye.
Gemini, lead, old.
Get out. Retire from this earthly plane.
Describing my dad. Sorry.
Your dad is an old leaded Gemini, isn't he?
Oh my God, he is. Okay, so Joe's mother died giving birth to him.
Yikes.
She just put herself right out of her misery. He worked at his dad's grocery store. Nepo baby.
Holy shit.
Sorry, I just hate this man so much. Before enlisting in the Army in 1950. After that, he worked as a cop in Las Vegas for a little bit, then moved up the ranks to special agent at the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, which would later become the DEA. And Joe became the head of the Arizona branch of the DEA.
Great.
When he left, he joined, this is my favorite part. When he left, he joined his wife's intergalactic travel agency.
What?
It was called Star World Space Agency. I'm dead serious.
Oh my God.
Selling tickets for a ride on an actual rocket ship called the Phoenix E was supposed to launch on Columbus's 500th anniversary of his so-called discovery of the so-called New World.
Yuck.
So, if you don't remember this rocket launch, it's because nobody does, because it didn't happen.
Yeah, you don't say.
He claimed he sold tickets for it, but like I said, no flight ever happened despite booking tickets for 19 different flights.
Oh my God. I bet none of them got their money back.
Scammed these poor people out of their free trip to space. Not free, their trip to space. Okay, so obviously that didn't work out for very long. In 1992, Joe was elected sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, and managed to keep being reelected through 2017.
Yeah, damn.
Term limits.
Old.
He was a media slut. That's a offensive to sluts, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Claiming to have, on average, 200 television appearances every month.
Ugh. Every month?
That's what he says.
What a fucking asshole.
He's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
In 2005, he stylized himself as America's toughest sheriff. So here is an incomplete list of some of his bullshit. This guy has been accused of, are you ready?
Yes.
Abuse of power, misuse of funds, failure to investigate sex crimes, criminal negligence, abuse of suspects in custody, improper clearing of cases, so saying that they're solved when they're not fucking solved, unlawful enforcement of immigration laws, and election law violations.
Which is unfortunately a pretty standard list for a lot of law enforcement.
Yes, but this guy is fucking nuts.
Oh, yeah.
So I have
it beyond.
I have our specifics for us. In 1993, he set up a tent city as an extension of the Maricopa County Jail and referred to it as a concentration camp.
Great. Cool.
So when he was later questioned about that, he claimed it was a joke, but also said, quote, "What difference does it make? I still survived. I still keep getting reelected."
Yeah, he's like MAGA through and through. He's totally like, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and they would still elect me.
Yep. Huge Trump supporter, too, which is...
Of course.
If there was any doubt in your mind.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't like on stage with fucking Bob Kroll at one of his rallies.
He might have been. So he reserved the punishment of living in Tent City to, quote, "those who have been convicted." Yeah.
Okay.
The city
it's like he's saying, well, so many people are sitting in jail who have not been convicted of crimes yet. We only put them in this truly awful area if they have been convicted.
Right.
Okay, that makes it way better.
The city, in 1997, the tent city was condemned by Amnesty International.
Yeah.
During the summer of 2011, when temperatures in Phoenix were above 118 degrees Fahrenheit, temperatures inside the tents measured at 145 degrees.
Oh my God.
It's my understanding that they weren't just free to roam around. They had to be in their tents. It was still like a prison cell. Inmates complained of faulty fans and melting shoes.
Oh my God.
Joe said to complaining inmates, quote, It's 120 degrees in Iraq and the soldiers are living in tents and they didn't commit any crimes, so shut your mouths.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. In 1995, he brought back chain gangs,
literal
chain gangs. These included all-female chain gangs and also an all-juvenile volunteer chain gang, which earned 1 credit toward their high school diploma.
Oh my God. This is like the most fucked up, depraved shit.
Yeah. So you can get high school credit. You can get credit towards your GED.
Yeah, if you volunteer, I can't.
Yeah. He limited meals to twice per day and fed the inmates Nutraloaf.
The fuck? Soylent Green.
It's worse than Soylent Green, I think.
Oh.
It's worse than people. Nutraloaf is also known as meal loaf, prison loaf, disciplinary loaf, food loaf, lockup loaf, confinement loaf, seg loaf, GRU, vomit loaf, the loaf, or special management meal.
What?
There's a picture of it on the drive if you want to look at the loaf.
Oh, no.
It's disgusting.
Oh,
it's
my God. It's green.
It's like scraps
And
of
yellow.
random foods just compressed together with some sort of like binding agent.
Yeah, there's like spaghetti, beans.
There's like ramen in there.
That's disgusting. It looks like vomit.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Prison.
God.
Prisons like it because it has enough nutrients to sustain a person's health, and you don't need utensils to eat it. And it comes in a bag, so it's easily distributed.
Ugh.
There have been several lawsuits to ban Nutraloaf from prisons, calling it cruel and unusual punishment. And I'm proud to say that it is banned from prisons in Minnesota.
Well, there you go. At
Yay.
least there's 1 point for the prison and justice system in our state, our beautiful state.
In 2010, Joe created an armed immigration posse to help his officers enforce immigration law. And this posse included members such as Lou Ferrigno and Steven Seagal.
Y'all.
They just wanted to go ride around on horses with guns and play sheriff.
Yeah, the gross, like, Hollywood propaganda bullshit. I mean, we're seeing that right now. Fucking Dr. Phil just did an ICE ride-along.
Oh, God.
And like,
Go
put it on
away.
his show or whatever. Like, fuck off. You guys are so gross.
So fucking gross.
Exactly, Dr. Phil. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, Dr. Phil. The posse got shut down because immigration law is definitely a federal issue and not a county sheriff's office issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in like 2 different court like reprimands, they were like, either like, you can't do this. You're completely circumventing the Constitution.
Yeah.
In 2015, their website said they had 3,000 posse bootlickers enrolled, but I think there were only about 950 members, which still like only
Right. That's
you
a lot of
serve
people.
no legal function. This
but
is
they're
all
pathetic, so they're inflating their numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's pathetic too. But even if there are only 950 members, that's a grossly large amount of people.
Yep. Too many fucking people who think they're out here like doing God's work.
Yeah, they're protecting their country. Joe would force inmates to wear pink underwear just to emasculate them. He claimed it was so they wouldn't steal the underwear.
To where? They're in
I know.
prison.
He thought people were going to take the underwear out of the prison with
No, he
them when
didn't.
they left.
No, he
and he
didn't.
claimed that it somehow saved the county $70,000 in the first year.
No, he's just a fucking racist piece of shit who wanted to torture people.
And that's a very sexist, gross thing. You're going to
Sure
wear
is.
pink underwear so you feel bad about yourself. It's giving Doge.
It's so giving Doge because I want to know where that $70,000 underwear number came from. Like, fuck you. There's no way. There's no way.
Well, you just wait. After this shtick gained some media attention, he started to sell customized pink boxers
Oh my God.
that had the Maricopa County Sheriff's logo and also the words "Go Joe." So he sold these as a fundraiser for the Sheriff's Posse Association.
A fundraiser.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is no proof of where these profits actually went.
No, they went to his pocket.
Of course they fucking did.
Yeah.
Selling pink underwear, you stupid asshole.
This is the Trumpiest shit I have ever heard. Merch? You got your own merch, Joe?
He later sold pink handcuffs to promote his new book titled Sheriff Joe, America's Toughest Sheriff. He said, quote, I can get elected on pink underwear. I've done it 5 times.
I'm going to throw up. I hate him.
I know. I'm sorry. You're already nauseous. Of course, he's a birther. No surprise there.
Oh, yeah.
In 2004, he required all undocumented prisoners to register for the draft. That's just a special kind of cruel. It's like, and I'm sure he thinks he's super smart.
Yeah, he
for
does.
like coming up with that. He claimed, remember we talked about like the illegitimate clearance rates?
Mm-hmm.
He claimed that his office cleared 82% of cases.
Oh, I bet.
But in fact, it was only 15%. 1-5. That's like below the national average.
Oh my God, what a fucking dick.
I know. Under Joe, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office may have improperly cleared 75% of cases without any type of investigation.
Y'all, okay. Okay.
They were just stamping, done, done, done.
This, if you can't wrap your head around the racism, the white supremacy, the power grabs, so many things that are wrong with the police force and the justice system. But you're like, I would assume, because you're listening to this, a pretty avid listener of true crime. There's this stat should
82%.
should radicalize you, because this kind of failure, if you care about the victims of crime, which like cops love to fucking say that they do, this should make you sick. All of the other things should also make you sick. So like think critically about that. But
I'm going to get to something that's gonna make you sick.
But yeah, if nothing else grabs you, it's like there is no justice when power-hungry fucking losers with a badge just want shit to look good on paper so they can keep getting elected off of pink underwear.
So he can keep selling books.
So they're faking clearance rates to make their office look good, which also allows them to get more funding from the state. It's about money. It's about control. It's not about justice for any of the people that they have signed up to allegedly serve.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's gotta go.
Well, this next part might make you throw up. So they may have improperly cleared 75% of cases without any kind of investigation. Among these cases were the separate rapes of 3 girls, ages 13, 14, and 15. The 13-year-old was raped by her uncle and ended up having to get an abortion.
Oh, that
no
poor
justice, nothing.
No, cleared.
I think they later sent the uncle to jail after this was made public and they like reopened
People were
some
outraged.
shit. At least I hope so. Otherwise, I don't know how we would know that it was her uncle.
No, the cops do not care about sex crimes and domestic violence because they're statistically a lot of fucking cops are.
Well, we'll fucking get to that too, my friend. We
are
will get
perpetrators of these crimes,
to
but also
it.
like
they just don't care about women.
they don't care about women.
What are you gonna do? What was she wearing?
Yeah.
From 2004 to 2007, more than 400 sex crimes reported to Joe's office were either improperly investigated or not at all, like I said. Joe says, quote, if there were any victims, I apologize to those victims.
Thanks.
Yeah. So if that gives you an indication of where his head's at on all this. I hope you don't, but do you remember the show Smile, You're Under Arrest?
No.
Good. It only had 3 episodes, the first of which aired in 2008. I don't know what, like, network this was on.
Probably some Spike bullshit.
Probably.
I mean, Cops has been one of the most like pervasive shows on television, and there have always been offshoots trying to capture that same like lightning in a bottle.
PD Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cops is just straight up back on now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the premise of this show was people who had warrants were lured into police custody using fake scenarios. It was a prank show with the end goal of arresting people. So Joe must have liked how problematic this concept was because he appeared on the show. In fact, all of the cases that were presented on the show in its 3 episodes were out of Maricopa County PD.
Cool.
So here's just an example. Here was just one of the scenes.
He wanted a production credit to add to his 200 TV appearances a month.
He wanted to be on TV. He wanted to be the toughest sheriff. Okay, so in one episode, wanted fugitives are lured to a fake movie set with the promise of $300. Once there, they were asked to be extras in a movie called The Lime Green Line.
Okay.
I don't really know what that refers to. I bet it makes sense to cops.
Sure.
It might have been the light outside of the police station.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, so this film was sold to them as a prison movie that was going to be a little more kid-friendly.
Okay.
During the supposed filming, the main character messes up his lines, and the director asks the fugitive to step in and take over. Like, hey, step in and play the main character, just say this line. Then they get all excited to do that. Wearing their prison getup, they are made to say lines like, quote, "If I knew I had a warrant, I would have taken care of it." Then they are handcuffed to the bars, supposedly as part of this movie scene that they're filming.
Okay.
Then everyone leaves, and then a cop comes back to tell them that they're on a prank show, and then they tell them that they are actually under arrest and these are real cops, and you're actually handcuffed.
That is entrapment on every fucking level.
It's so psychotic.
That's cuckoo bananas.
And this man's Wikipedia page, if I printed it out, it would probably be 40 or 50 pages. It was the longest. It was so. This is not, like I said, not an exhaustive list.
No, this is just the tip of the iceberg of the kind of bullshit this guy was pulling.
Yep. But like, that's enough for now. Okay, so our fan pickers today wanted us to share the story of their friend and sorority sister, Samantha Harrer, who loved hedgehogs and lived in Channahon, Illinois. So I couldn't find much about her early life other than she was an only child. I found a lot of helpful articles from the Patch. I think it's the Joliet Patch. So here's a quote from her mother, Heather. "She was a force. She was independent. She had honor. She had integrity." So as soon as Samantha turned 16, she wanted to get a job and work. So she took a job at McDonald's, later at the Manuka Public Library. That's where her mother, Heather, worked.
Cute.
Samantha graduated from Manuka Community High School and then went to college at the University of St. Francis in Joliet, Illinois. While she was studying, she had an internship at the Channahon Police Department. So she was really getting after it.
Yep.
And in 2016, she graduated with a degree in criminology. Sis was cool.
Yeah.
She got a job with the Western Will County Communications Center, or WESCOM 911, as a 911 dispatcher.
Okay.
How fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge responsibility, but like we need, dedicated and empathetic people on dispatch because that can make
I always thought I'd be so good at being a dispatcher.
I think you actually would. You like keep your cool under pressure. You're pragmatic and like you speak clearly. I think you actually could do quite well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe I'll follow in Sam's footsteps.
Maybe.
So her mom later said that her junior year of college, she made up her mind that she wanted to pursue being a dispatcher. She really loved her job. In March of 2017, when she was 22 years old, Samantha moved into her own apartment. It was only about 2 miles away from her parents. She was very, very close with her parents. She also had a cat named Salem.
Stop it.
I can only imagine it was a black cat named Salem.
Oh, gorge.
But yeah, she loved animals. In 2017, she began dating a guy named Phil Flores, who was a police officer at the Crest Hill Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
So given the title of this episode, I think you can see where this is heading.
Yep.
Phil was 10 years older than Samantha. He was also divorced.
Mm-hmm.
His parents didn't love the idea of their relationship, but they wanted to give him a chance. They trusted their daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha's best friend, Taylor, I think Taylor was one of the group of Ashley and Shelley who sent this in.
Mm-hmm.
Her best friend, Taylor, didn't really like Phil either. And on one occasion that, I don't know if Taylor said it or the mom recounted that Taylor told her that they were driving to a Chicago Cubs game and Phil was driving so erratically that Taylor said later that she feared for her life and called him, quote, insane.
That's so scary. Being in a car with somebody who's just driving, like you have
God.
no control.
I hate it.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Over the next 6 months or so, Samantha's communication with Taylor was not great. She was texting Taylor back less and less.
Mm-hmm. It's like maybe he's isolating her and she's losing or
I'll tell you what he did.
Oh, God.
So this is not shaping up to be, it's sort of a field of red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And here are some more red flags. You're going to lose your mind.
Oh, God.
Phil was a former Marine. He could not hold down a job when he got back, so he became a cop in 2012.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His first marriage lasted about 14 months before they separated. And I have to point out that 10 of those 14 months, he was deployed in Iraq.
So he wasn't even home and his wife was still like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You suck.
Mm-hmm. Phil and Sam's first date was at the Grundy County Speedway.
No.
And he brought along a fellow cop and his date, so it was like a double date.
Oh, yuck.
But like multiple cops hanging out.
At the Grundy County Speedway.
And maybe Sam loved the Speedway. I don't know. But I don't like it when cops hang out together when they're off duty.
Oh.
Like that's, I don't know.
Mm.
I've heard slurs being used
Oh,
when
of
there are
course.
groups of off-duty cops.
Of
and
course.
It's just foul.
Girl, you
Okay.
gotta watch the Karen Reed documentary on HBO.
I'm so excited.
This is so topical.
I'm going to blame an owl. No matter what happens, I'm going to blame an owl.
Let me know after you watch it.
Okay. And in March of 2016, Phil was accused of raping a sleeping woman.
Oh my God.
Her name was Kristen Kurtz. They had known each other since high school, and they had previously lived together as roommates.
Oh no.
And they were just friends. They said they didn't have any sexual contact during this time, but they had ended their roommate relationship on kind of bad terms.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2016, I think February 2016, he ran into her at a bar that is just like a towny bar that he went to frequently called Bobby's Tap. He went over to her and was talking to her to just sort of clear the air and like, you know, hope you're doing well. Sorry it ended that way.
Mm-hmm.
When they finished at the bar, she was going to leave. He offered to follow her home, like in their respective cars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they'd both been drinking, so he was just going to follow her home, make sure she got home okay.
Yeah.
So she said she went home, went into her house, and like immediately passed out, like in her bed, and awoke sometime later feeling groggy and confused to find Phil on top of her, assaulting her.
Oh my God.
She told him to get the fuck away, and he said, "Oh, now I have blue balls." Before she made him leave her home. So that's the kind of fuck face that we're dealing with here. And there is no evidence to suggest that Sam knew about this assault.
When they were dating. Of course, he's not going to tell her that. He's not going to fucking tell her that. And his cop homies are not going to look out for her.
We'll get to the cop homies. Yeah, so, now I have blue balls.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know
that
what,
was in
Phil?
her report.
I hope you either die or
your
live
balls
a
explode.
miserable life. Yeah, and that your balls hurt forever.
Okay, so going back to... sorry, Ray. That's the second time I've punched him today. I'm sorry.
He's all right.
Back to late 2017. the romance between Sam and Phil had really fizzled out when Sam discovered that Phil had been snooping on all of her devices and fully deleting text messages from her friends. That's why she wasn't like getting back to them.
She didn't even know they were messaging her. Oh my God.
She, I guess, was also had some kind of relationship. The guy said it was just a friendly relationship, but she had a relationship with another police officer.
Yeah, she was friends with it. I mean, she worked in dispatch. She probably knew a lot of these people. She was friendly with this other guy.
Yeah. So this guy was married. Not that that matters because I don't think they had a romantic relationship, but she had dated other cops previously in the past. And there was some mention of or like a suggestion, and I'm sure it was by his lawyers, but the phrase badge bunny came up.
Oh, for God's
sake. Like a woman who only dates cops.
Oh, blech. Fuck off.
It just seems so misogynist.
It is. And yeah, trying to paint her as being
a cop hopper. That's a better word than badge bunny. Cop hopper.
Oh, God. It's all gross.
It's all gross, but I mean, it rolls off the tongue better. I'm just saying. Okay. So he was, deleting her texts. And he also found some texts or whatever messages with this
guy,
other police officer. So he confronted her when he found these texts. He was really fucking pissed, but not pissed enough to actually end their relationship. And another time, I'm positive this happened on several occasions. He would enter her apartment when she wasn't home and just snoop around in her shit.
Oh my God. It's so disgusting and violating.
And then once again found messages between her and another man, but they were like sort of broken up. He says, no, they only broke up for like a week, but
well, and also
she's not around to tell us how long.
No, and it's like this is information that's probably coming out in court. The truth usually lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
and he seems like the kind of person who would fly off the handle, even if she's just friends with other dudes. He's already trying to cut her off from her female friends who don't like him. Now it's like you also can't talk to other men. Period.
Yeah. Okay, so again from the patch. Heather, the mom, testified later, quote, he squatted at her apartment. He worked the 6 to 6 shift. He would stay up all night, bring over his dry cleaning uniform, eat her food, eat in her living room, just basically slob the place up.
Yuck. What a loser.
So this is kind of why I want to get this right for the memory of Samantha. There were a lot of articles and some of them had conflicting information. I also went on TikTok and watched some YouTube videos. So I'm just kind of trying to piece a lot of stuff together. So like I said, I think they briefly broke up in early December, but got back together like a week later. That's according to Phil. By January of 2018, Phil had invited her to move in with him.
No.
Her mother said, quote, she was skeptical about living together. She told me he was going to try to purchase a townhome. She didn't want any responsibility for this townhome or for him.
Good for her.
She just wants to get away. But he is over here saying, oh, we were going to Menards. We were picking out light fixtures. She had gotten a, what's it called? When you like check to see how good your home is. Like an inspection.
Yeah. Well, and maybe she did help with some of that stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's gonna like move in and be, caring for the home or for him.
Right. I also think that by this point she was probably isolated enough.
Yeah.
That now we don't really know what was going on.
Right.
We only have his word, which
and whatever
isn't
little
worth
bit
shit.
She was able to tell her mom. Ugh. God,
okay, so here's another part where the dates are a little bit fuzzy. I think that Heather, Sam's mom, spent the night on Sunday, February 10th at Samantha's apartment because they were very close. They're just hanging out. She left the morning of the 11th, which was a Monday morning. She gave her a hug and she said, quote, goodbye, my beauty.
Oh, God, my heart.
I know. So I think that Samantha was off work the next day, which was a Tuesday, and she had a tattoo appointment that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
She also kept a robust handwritten planner.
Atta girl.
She's my kind of girl. She used it to keep track of her busy schedule. She was looking forward to her tattoo appointment because she was going to get her sleeve finished.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother recalled that she was optimistic and that she wasn't aware that Samantha had any plans with Phil for Valentine's Day, but she did say that while she was there on Sunday night, Phil kept calling Sam and trying to get a hold of her, and she was just like, ugh.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah. So I will note here that Samantha did legally own a gun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Smith & Wesson, like a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
And she also had her concealed carry permit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. According to Phil, that night of February 12th, he got off work late at night. See, this is confusing because one report said he got off work late at night, drove past Samantha's house to make sure her car was in the driveway to quote unquote make sure she was okay.
Right.
But
Well,
her
which
lawyer
really
was
means
like,
to
are
make
you
she
sure
was
you
home.
weren't making sure there was no one else at her apartment?
Oh, that. Okay.
So he says he drove past her apartment, went to Billy's tavern or whatever, Bobby's Tap, the bar, because he's friends with the owner and it's like 3:30 in the morning and he stayed up late chatting with the owner. And like, then he went over to her apartment and like let himself in
Okay.
because they both had the next day off, the 13th. They had off of work, so that was going to be the only time they could like hang out for Valentine's Day. Okay, so he unannounced shows up at her apartment either late that night or the next morning or maybe the next midday. I don't.
Okay.
So he said, he testified, quote, I punched in the key code as I knocked. So he had the code. He was going to go in anyway. Made my way to the bedroom where she was asleep and I gave her her Valentines. And her gifts were reportedly 3 different Valentine's Day cards, which is weird, and 2 boxes of candy.
Okay.
I don't need 3 fucking cards.
No. What's that? There's like an amazing meme where somebody responds to a super long text message that's like, I'm not reading all that, but like, I'm sorry that happened to you or congratulations. Like, yep. That's
not reading
the vibe.
all that.
I'm not reading all that, but I'm sorry that happened to you or congratulations.
I love that. Okay, so he said that she was sleeping in the nude, and I think when she was found, she also didn't have clothes on, which to me is so suspicious too. He said that he woke her up to give her her gifts. She said she was tired, put the gifts on the side table, and then went back to sleep. And he said he noticed that the gun was also sitting on the side table next to her bed.
Her gun.
Her gun.
Okay.
On February 13th, 2018, at 8:17 a.m., Phil called 911 claiming that she had locked herself in her bedroom and shot herself in the head.
No way. No way.
So what I gathered, what he said happened is that they woke up at like 5 or 6 in the morning. They were talking. She had like asked for her phone. He gave her her phone, just like hand it to me from the other side of the table. He didn't like have her phone. You know what I mean? And that she just seemed really pissed off, wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't commit to any plans with him. He said he kept trying to cheer her up, but she just wouldn't cheer up, told him to get the fuck out. He says he just kept trying to calm her down. Finally, she shut herself in her bedroom. He heard a gun go off. He went into the bedroom, saw her laying on the floor, called 911. The dispatcher, who, by the way, all the dispatchers know her.
Yup.
And they know him. It's not a big town. So when he called, like, I didn't listen to the tapes, but the video that I watched said that the dispatchers were like, oh, fuck, it's Samantha. And they were, like, upset.
Of course.
Of course they were. So they were saying, like, is she breathing? He said, no, she's dead. And they said, okay, you need to start CPR. And he's like, he would not do any kind of CPR or life-saving measures. He claimed that there was brain matter outside of her head. Like, she was definitely dead. So he wasn't going to perform any kind of CPR. He later also said that he knew she was alive and he didn't want to perform CPR on her because he didn't want her to see him in pain.
What?
Trying to save her life.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, obviously very conflicting. That's not the only conflicting shit that came out of his mouth. But it's so weird.
That's so gross and creepy.
Yeah. I didn't want her to see me in pain.
No.
I think when the EMTs did get there, she was still alive, but she died before they got to the hospital.
Oh, God.
It also came out later when they looked at his phone that he had been texting one of his friends at like 4 or 5 o'clock that morning, bitching about Samantha's alleged infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
This was hours before she was killed.
This is some if I can't have her, nobody can bullshit. She was over it with him.
He's getting all riled up.
He's all
She's
riled
over
up.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He broke into her house. I don't care that he had the access code or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck off.
There was no gunshot residue found on Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And again, she was nude, so it wouldn't even be like
on her clothes.
It could have been like all over her arm because
Yeah.
she wasn't wearing any fucking clothes.
But none is found. How strange.
None is found. The Illinois State Police Forensic Lab found gunshot residue on Phil's dark sweatshirt and on his right hand.
Yep.
He also had several spots where there was blood spatter on his sweatshirt.
Yeah, and as a cop, he should fucking know that they're gonna find this shit.
Yep. And like I said, he gave inconsistent statements, and a lot of the details that came out, like quote unquote officially, conflict with photos from the fucking crime scene.
Yeah, so he's an asshole and he's an idiot.
Phil never called Samantha's parents after her death, nor did he attend her funeral. 10 months later, the county coroner determined that Samantha had died by suicide.
No!
Even though there is so much fucking evidence to the contrary. It took them 10 months to all get their fucking story straight and to sweep this under the rug. So obviously, very suspicious, and the family quickly accused the police department of conspiring to cover up a murder. At some point during some subsequent hearing, it wasn't like a criminal proceeding because Phil wasn't legally required to be there, but the Harrers were there and Phil was there, and there was some point at which he tried to apologize to them, and his attorney stopped him, and he ended up fully fleeing the courtroom and the building.
What the fuck? So wait, he never has been arrested or charged with her murder?
No, because the coroner deemed it a suicide, so he's completely cleared. And I also heard in one of these videos that on his social media posts, as soon as they cleared him, he was like bragging.
Oh, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. In July of 2023, the Harrers won a wrongful death suit in the amount of $15 million, which the money doesn't fucking matter. And they're not going to get the, hopefully they get this dude, but it seems like, I don't know how easy it is to get a case reopened after, the coroner had deemed something a suicide.
Well, and I wonder if that wrongful death suit will come out of the taxpayer via the police force. Because that's another thing.
He was put on leave after there was some like drunk driving incident while he was a cop. He was put on leave for a month, still collected, or on leave for however long, he still collected $20,000 while not working.
Of course.
From the taxpayers.
Well, and a lot of times these lawsuits, or I think every time these because police are not required to carry like personal insurance the way that like, say, doctors are. And so when they get sued for shit like this, it comes out of the police budget. Like the police force makes these payouts to families.
That's great.
So that's your taxpayer dollars at work, people.
Yep. So, yeah, that's the story of Samantha.
I mean, Jesus, God willing, if somebody who hears this story knows something, I want to believe that there could be new evidence out there that could be brought up against him to try him again for this.
It just seemed like they
Well,
were
he never really went on
blocked
to try him at all.
It just seemed like they were blocked at every turn to try and get some kind of justice for her, for Sam.
It's so fucking sad. And with like the statistics of, intimate partner violence among police officers, it's like how many?
It's like 4 times higher than
the
non-cops.
average. Yeah. It's like how many
military people, anyone who has a job with some sort of hierarchical power
and access to firearms and
they're way more likely to be.
So it's like how many
abusers.
Girlfriends and wives have died and there has been no justice because their killer is part of a system that protects him. It's like,
however sloppily.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They just kept running into brick walls because of that thin blue line.
And, there are definitely instances of corruption among like county coroners' offices because like that information is pivotal in bringing charges, those cause of death. So it's like, that's what I mean. It's like you pull that thread and the whole fucking tapestry starts to fucking fall apart. So, if you're interested in taking a job that within that system, like your commitment to integrity has to be at the front and center. And sometimes just that commitment alone isn't enough because the entire system can like, you think about this with like people who become police officers with like, positive ideation about wanting to create change from the inside. And then they're not able to do that because essentially every system that governs how they operate doesn't allow them to work with integrity. And it's just, it's so fucked up. I hate it.
Yeah.
Samantha, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, Sam. But you are a very beautiful girl. Did you see these pictures of her?
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
Criminology.
I know.
Cat lover. Hedgehog lover. We'd be friends in another life. Okay, well, Ashley and Shelley and Taylor, I hope that I did your friend's case some justice, and I really hope that she and her family and you all see some justice with this motherfucker.
Seriously, like if someone
the more
out there
I read about him, I was just
something.
like, there's no fucking way he didn't do that. Allegedly. Okay, I don't want to get sued. But also, you're a fucking prick.
Yeah, not buying it. Not buying it.
Not buying it. Okay, well, shall we take a quick breather?
Yep.
Hear a word from our sponsors?
Yeah, and then we'll get into my fucked up story.
Great. If you're a parent, you get it. You don't have time to research every single product you use in your home, but you want to because you care about the health of your family and your children and everything. But there's just not enough time, and that's why you need Blue Land. They are certified safe and clean by the EPA, and they get the job done. And there are plenty of jobs, especially when you have kids. And the best part is you don't have to worry about the impact that these products will have on your family or on you.
Seriously, Blue Land is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet with the same powerful clean you're used to. I am a messy girl. I'm rough on my sinks. I'm rough on my dishes. I'm rough on my toilet. I'm going to be honest.
You got blue hair. Of course your sink has
my tub. All of
challenges.
the above. Yes, it's there's a lot of crime happening in my house, and we have been a full-blown Blue Land household for years now, and we will literally never go back. These products work so well. And the idea behind their whole product line is so simple. They offer refillable cleaning products with a beautiful cohesive design that looks great on your counter. I also really appreciate that, like, you can get the spray bottles color coded. So I have like a yellow one for the bathroom. We have a blue one for the kitchen. We have like a pink one for all purpose. Like, it's very easy to know what product you're reaching for. They have cleaning sprays. They have hand soap. They have toilet bowl cleaner. This stuff is a miracle.
my favorite.
The laundry tablets, the dishwasher tablets. I'm obsessed. All Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients that you can feel good about. You just refill your usable bottles with water. You drop in the tablet, like for your hand soap or your spray cleaner, and then you'll wait for them to dissolve, and you've got a whole new bottle of product. You'll never have to grab bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run, throwing your back out, ruining your day. And not only that, Blue Land products, like I said, super effective, but they're also incredibly affordable. Refill tablets from Blue Land start at just $2.25. Like, what are you doing? You can get even more savings by buying refills in bulk, or you can do what I did and set up a subscription. I just don't even have to think about it. It has cleaning products, laundry tabs, dishwasher tabs. Like, this stuff has not been on our regular grocery list for years because it just shows up on time. Blue Land products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands and are free from dyes, bleach, and harsh chemicals. They also have really nice, gentle scents. Like, your house will smell like a spa. It's so nice.
I love the foaming hand soaps.
Oh, they have so many different scent options too for the hand soaps. It's like the selection is really amazing. So Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes, including ours. What are you waiting for, babe?
Blue Land has a special offer for our listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/gals. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/gals for 15% off. That's blueland.com/gals to get 15% off.
Millions of Americans grind or clench their teeth at night, and most don't even know they're doing it. Okay, so if you have jaw pain or even headaches after a night's sleep, there's a high chance that you grind or clench your teeth. Teeth grinding, also known as bruxism or TMJ, is generally caused by stress, which we all have in abundance, and it can cause serious damage such as eroding away your enamel and broken teeth, like the things nightmares are made of, which leads to expensive dental bills, also a nightmare.
Very expensive. And also, I don't want to go to the dentist. I don't want to have a procedure done.
Ugh. For teeth grinding?
No, broken teeth, I can't. The solution to protecting your teeth is a mouth guard, but mouth guards from the dentist can cost you like up to $800. So not great. But the good news is there is Remy. Remy makes dental grade professional quality mouth guards without the painful price tag and without a visit to the dentist, which is even better. They're up to 80% cheaper than what you would pay by going to the dentist. Their process is so simple. They send you an at-home impression kit to create molds of your teeth. You send those back to Remy, and Remy's dental team will make your custom fit guards and send them right back to you. Remy's guards are so comfortable to wear. They are so thin, I can't even tell that I have them on at night.
Yeah.
And I am definitely a night clencher.
Yeah, you are.
It's not great. I wake up grinding my teeth. Well, I did before I got my Remy guards. And I also have to say, it was a little bit daunting when I got the package in the mail, but their customer support is outstanding. It's like personalized. They are so responsive. It gave me all the confidence in the world to do my molds at home. And then I sent them in. Turned out to be extremely easy. They came back really fast. I am very, very happy with my experience with Remy.
Yeah, they kind of walked you through everything. They were amazing.
They were really amazing.
Remy is for anyone dealing with nighttime grinding, clenching, or jaw pain who wants an affordable solution to protect their smile and say good night to jaw pain and headaches. Head to shopremy.com/gals and use code GALS to save up to 50%. That's 50% off at shopremi.com/gals with code GALS. Give your teeth a break without breaking the bank with Remy, and thank you, Remy, for sponsoring this episode.
With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and very affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Green Chef Every Plate is now owned by HelloFresh as well, and with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for absolutely everyone. I love switching between these brands because they do have very different recipes, and now our listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount on us.
So if you are tired of figuring out what's for dinner night after night, I am not a meal planner, baby, and I'm never going to be one, okay? You got to get, dinner done the easy way, thanks to HelloFresh. What I also love about HelloFresh is, it pushes me to try making things that I don't normally make at home. I'm not a huge meat eater, not because I don't like meat. I mean, I'm ordering a steak at a restaurant, but I'm intimidated by cooking it myself. But I recently made the butter basted sirloin steak.
Yum.
Parsnip wedges on the side, creamed spinach. Girl, it was so good. I make a HelloFresh meal and I'm like, okay, I'm opening a restaurant. I'm a chef.
Yep,
I have
I'm
like
a chef.
so much overconfidence because it's like I can follow these easy recipes. I'm like, yeah, I can open a restaurant. Like, what are you gonna do?
I cooked shrimp successfully for the first time with HelloFresh.
You sure did. They also have so many different options. You can do the HelloFresh new ready-made meals that go from your fridge to your fork in just 3 minutes. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-worthy flavor that you expect from HelloFresh with just none of the work. They also have a lineup of prep and bake meals that come together with minimal mess and only 5 minutes of prep, so your oven does most of the work, not you. They also have 15-minute meals that are done in just 3 simple steps, so you can eat better this year without all the hassle. And like that steak that I made, that was a 30-minute meal. So that's like on the longer end. You're not going to have that issue where it's like by the time you figure out what you want to eat, you're already ravenous. Like it's all there for you, and it's so easy to put together.
Get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast.
So today I'm talking about a real piece of shit. This is, it's a dark one. It's fucked up.
Great.
So we're talking about Anthony John Sully, who was born on January 2nd, 1944, a Capricorn, in San Francisco, California. He spent his formative years in Millbrae, where he graduated from the local high school, but I'm not sure where or if he went to much college. Like, there's not a lot of info available about his early life.
Okay.
In 1965, he married a woman named Elizabeth Ann, and his life took a significant turn the following year when he joined the Millbrae Police Department. For nearly a decade, from 1966 to 1974, Sully served as a police officer in the Patrol and Post Service, earning a reputation as having a clean record and being positively viewed by his colleagues. However, beneath the surface of a seemingly upstanding officer, a disturbing change began to take root.
Oh, God.
In 1969, just a few years into his law enforcement career, Elizabeth Ann filed for divorce, alleging 4 years of physical abuse. Are we even surprised?
Nope.
This marked the beginning of a pattern of violent behavior. In 1974, he did leave the police force and remarried a woman named Donna and took in her child from a previous marriage. But this marriage was even shorter lived, ending after only 15 months due to his constant physical assaults.
Oh, my God.
The courts even issued a restraining order prohibiting Sully from contacting Donna, her child, or her relatives, but this did not keep him from taunting her. In a truly fucked up incident after their separation, Sully twisted the heads off his former stepdaughter's pet ducklings.
Oh, my God.
And threatened to do the same to the child. As far as I know, no arrest was made for this incident. Jesus. There were no consequences. And while these crimes didn't happen, well, some of them, the abuse happened while he was a cop. His actual violent crimes were after he was a cop. But it just shows how much he was
after or during.
After he was the restraining order, the abuse of his wives, that was happening while he was a cop. The killing of the ducks and what he does later is after, but it just shows how much he was able to get away with as a former cop. I don't think that the restraining order, the reports about the fucking ducklings, and the victims that he preyed upon, none of it was taken seriously. And that's very standard in the cop justice playbook.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Brian, my husband, your best friend at work, your work bestie,
beat me.
Has been beating me. Go arrest him.
Not gonna happen.
No.
In the late 1970s, Sully started his own electrical and construction contracting company. He rented a hangar in Burlingame and used it as a warehouse for his operations. But as the early 1980s dawned, Sully's life took an even darker turn. His sexual appetite...
Many dark turns.
So many dark turns. His sexual appetite reportedly increased, leading him into the company of pimps and sex workers, where he went by the alias Jack. He apparently...
Good alias.
Yeah, I know. Really cool. He apparently invested thousands of dollars in creating an escort agency and began regularly using drugs. This descent into the fringes of society set the stage for the horrific crimes that would soon follow. So between February and August of 1983, he went on a spree. He committed a series of brutal murders at this Burlingame warehouse that he was renting for his business. His victims were 24-year-old Gloria Fravel, a sex worker who allegedly owed him money. In early February of 1983, she was brought to the warehouse by a woman named Tina Livingston. She ran an escort service and might have been the woman that he was in business with. He made all these investments in the escort service. I'm pretty sure it's hers. And
part of his network, if nothing else.
Exactly.
And she knew what he was up to, right?
She definitely did.
Ooh, good, great.
She is important later on. So Gloria is brought to the warehouse by Tina and a woman named Kelly Burns, who is also a sex worker. Sully tortured and sexually assaulted Gloria for 2 days in the warehouse before killing her by strangling her with a rope.
This was his first victim that we know of?
Yes. Her body was later disposed of near State Route 35, and Sully even kept a newspaper article about the discovery of her body as a trophy. It was found among his belongings.
Great. They just can't help themselves.
No. His next victim was a young woman named Brenda Oakton. She was 19. She occasionally engaged in sex work, more like survival sex work. In mid-February, Tina Livingston lady, brought her to Sully's warehouse, where he shot her in the back of the head. Then a man named...
I gotta say, at least it wasn't 2 days of torture.
I know.
That's sick.
So I know. It's that's the silver lining. What the fuck? Then a victim named Michael Thomas. He was 24, and he was allegedly a pimp. As well as his common-law wife, a woman named Phyllis Melendez, who was 20 years old. She was also a sex worker. In April of 1983, Sully invited them to his hangar, probably because they did business with him, if they're connected with Tina, or, he's in this world now.
Yeah.
So they go to the hangar, and he shot both of them in the back of the head. Then he killed his ex-girlfriend, Barbara Searcy, 22 years old. In August of 1983, he lured her to the hangar with an offer of financial assistance. I think she had fallen on hard times. And they had been together for a while. They weren't together at the time, but I'm not sure if he reached out to her or she reached out to him. Either way, he was yeah, come meet me at my work. I can give you some money. And he shot her in the back of the head. Her body was...
He knew she was desperate.
Yes. Her body was later dumped near the Pulgas Water Temple. I'm not sure if that's a reservoir or what that is.
Water Temple.
And then Catherine Barrett, who was 24 years old, she was a drug dealer. And at the end of August 1983, she was invited to his hangar to sell him cocaine with the help of a man named Michael Anthony Francis, who was a friend that Sully often used drugs with. Sully stabbed her multiple times and struck her with a sledgehammer. Her body was found in South San Francisco. So he goes on this spree and kills all of these people in rapid succession.
A wide variety of methods and means too.
Yeah. And
men and women and torture and not.
And there was sexual assault of, I think, almost all of the female victims before their death. So it was definitely... sex and murder.
Violence.
Yeah.
I wonder if he only had male victims because they were with the women that he wanted to kill.
Entirely possible. Because he only had one male victim, and that was Michael Thomas. And I wonder if he had really wanted to sleep with Phyllis, Michael's common law wife.
Yeah.
But Michael was with her. Now, we don't know these details because he maintained his innocence, and so he didn't give up shit in court.
Great.
They had enough forensic evidence to very much conclude that he fucking did it. But, you know, that's another travesty of this whole thing, is that, like, these people's families will never really know exactly why or what the fuck this guy was thinking, because he didn't testify and, you know, entered his plea of not guilty and sat on death row without ever confessing or giving anything.
That's awful.
So to dispose of some of these bodies, he put the corpses of Brenda Oakton, the 19-year-old, Michael Thomas, and Michael's wife, Phyllis, in 55-gallon metal drums, poured concrete into the barrels over the bodies, and then dumped them in Golden Gate Park.
Just the park?
I guess.
So they just looked like big lumps of cement.
Yeah.
People didn't know there was bodies in them?
The cement was inside of the drums. So I think he might have buried them, but not very well, because basically no investigation was taking place into these people that were missing at this time. And then the investigation really only began when the drums, the barrels, were discovered by people in the park who were like, this looks fucking weird, and called it in. And then they, you know, I'm assuming investigators came and removed the barrels and opened them and were like, what the fuck?
Okay. So they did find the bodies in the barrels at some point.
Yes. His victims.
Why wouldn't you just dump them in the bay?
I think, again, it's like shit we'll never really know because he didn't testify, but it's just part of like some sick fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he thought that this would be a way to get rid of evidence, or some sort of like Dahmer-esque experimentation with some of these bodies. And I'm not sure where the other bodies had been stashed. I think he disposed of them in different places around San Francisco. But
those were the only
ones
that
were in the drums. I think all of them were found, but these were the ones that were found in the drums.
That's
so fucking weird. And again, no investigation was looking into any of these people because he knows as a cop that these are not victims that are going to be prioritized in the system. Like, this is a system that he knows well after over a decade of being a police officer.
He's exploiting how shitty cops
so
by being a shitty cop.
Had he not disposed of these bodies in such like a careless and bizarre way, he may not have been looked at all. But they found these barrels, and there was a huge breakthrough because Anthony Sully's fucking fingerprints were all over the barrels and on some of the like dried concrete on the inside of the barrels.
Dumbass.
Yup. I mean, if you're going to be a monster, at least be stupid so that people can fucking find you.
Yeah.
On August 25th, 1983, the authorities apprehended Anthony Sully. They searched his car, the hangar, and his house, and they found a treasure trove of incriminating evidence.
Yes.
The barrels...
Get him, boys.
I know, right? The barrels used for the Golden Gate Park victims were traced back as stolen from a different hangar that was near his warehouse hangar.
Oh, so he was lazy, too.
Yep. Plastic bags in his car matched those that were used to wrap Michael Thomas's body. A white cotton rope found in his car matched the rope tying Barbara Searcy's limbs.
Oh my God.
A pack of Benson and Hedges cigarettes in the hangar had a batch number matching cigarette butts found on Catherine Barrett's body.
Oh, Jesus.
He left traceable evidence on everybody that he killed. Thank God.
Yeah.
So, following Sully's arrest, a crucial figure steps forward. I think she knew that her goose was fucking cooked. And so Tina came forward. She was the owner of the escort agency that Sully was investing in and you know, enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
She contacted law enforcement and confessed her complicity in the murders, which, like, don't be complicit in murder. And I'm glad that she did. I'm glad that she came forward. Sorry, I want to make that very clear. I'm not glad that she was complicit in murders. I'm glad that she came forward and confessed. Her detailed testimony provided a chilling inside look at Sully's crimes and the roles of his accomplices. Livingston's cooperation led to the arrest of Kelly Burns and Michael Francis, who Sully had offered Okay, so Kelly Burns was the sex worker that worked with Tina and would bring some of these victims to the hangar. Michael Francis was the friend who he did drugs with, who helped him kill one of his victims. Let me just triple check. Maybe his ex-girlfriend.
Because I was wondering why this random man would help him so much.
No, Catherine Barrett. He helped him kill Catherine Barrett, their drug dealer.
Was he beholden to Jack at any?
I don't think so. That relationship is a little confusing, but if they used drugs together and this was their drug dealer, I think it would have been pretty easy to manipulate Michael and create this narrative that so-and-so is fucking us over. We have to take care of her and find someone new to buy coke from, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm not giving Michael a pass, but I think he also got a little wrapped up in shit that he's already living a pretty vulnerable lifestyle, it sounds like. And I don't think it would have been that hard for Sully to rope him into. Same with Kelly Burns. Kelly Burns is a sex worker. She's working for Tina. This guy is definitely working with, and taking advantage of a very vulnerable population. And so was Tina.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everybody is responsible in their own way. I'm not giving anybody a pass here, in terms of their complicity and their assistance in these crimes. And the circumstances are extenuating because of just the nature of the behavior and what people are getting up to in this situation.
Yeah.
So Kelly Burns is arrested for her complicity with Tina, and Michael is also arrested, but Sully had allegedly offered Michael $10,000 in exchange for just taking the fall for all of the crimes that he was accused of. And Michael was like, no, and then testified against Sully in court.
Wasn't Sully the one that had evidence fucking everywhere?
Yes.
What good would that have done?
Girl, don't ask me. I don't know what the fuck this guy was thinking. So in October of 1983, Anthony Sully was formally charged with 6 counts of murder, to which he entered a plea of not guilty.
God.
The trial of Anthony Sully began, and the evidence against him was overwhelming, like we said. On June 3rd, 1986, after hearing extensive testimony and reviewing the physical evidence, the jury found Sully guilty on all 6 counts of first-degree murder. 12 days later, he was sentenced to death, and even after the verdict, Sully maintained his innocence, delivering a 40-minute speech claiming he was not a monster.
40 minutes?
40 minutes!
Get down.
Right?
Sit down.
Sit
Boo.
boo. Normalize booing in court, but also don't. Maybe that would be bad. But fuck that.
Normalize booing in court.
Fuck. 40. Why are we giving this man 40 fucking minutes?
The Oscars song starts
yes,
playing.
Get the hook.
The hook.
Get out of here. God.
I'm not well, you are being a monster by holding us fucking captive in this courtroom.
This is his last bit of chaos unleashed upon the world.
Ugh, torture.
Tina Livingston accepted a plea deal, testifying against Sully and receiving a 3-year sentence for negligent homicide, but was released with time served. So her testimony must have been very compelling for them to essentially give her a slap on the wrist for bringing women to him to kill, to rape and murder.
Yeah.
I have feelings about that. I certainly do. I don't, it doesn't really sit right with me, because I would have to believe that a lot of these women worked with Tina and maybe trusted her.
Yeah.
And she led them into the belly of the beast.
She knew who to look for. She knew to look for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm assuming either the ones that trusted her or were desperate enough to go with her for the promise of whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael Francis did catch a life sentence with his conviction as an accomplice in the murder of Catherine Barrett, their drug dealer. He got a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years. I am not sure if he was released. I did not check that. That's bad me on my part. Kelly Burns, the young sex worker who had kind of like helped Tina bring a victim, also received a 25 to life sentence for her involvement in the murders of Michael Thomas, Phyllis Melendez, and Brenda Oakton. So she had been complicit. But then again, I'm like, okay, so why is she getting this huge sentence and Tina is getting a slap on the wrist? It doesn't seem fair.
No.
Like, Tina should also be getting 25 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Instead of time served.
Right.
That's wild.
Exactly. So there must have been something more compelling or more valuable about Tina's testimony than anybody else to get her a deal like that, or her lawyer is just really fucking good. Anthony Sully was placed on death row at San Quentin State Prison. He twice requested a commutation of his sentence in 1991 and 2013, and also sought a new trial, but all of his appeals were dismissed.
Goodbye.
One notable legal challenge reached the California Supreme Court, resulting in the case People v. Sully in 1991. This extensive ruling affirmed his conviction and sentence, addressing numerous legal arguments raised by the defense, including issues related to accomplice testimony. So he's like, these people are fucking lying. This testimony isn't legitimate. He was pissed about jury instruction. He was pissed about evidence that had been deemed admissible in court. And he had been wanting a change of venue for the trial, I guess, because I think it was kind of sensationalized in San Francisco and he didn't get it. But the court like looked over all of this meticulously and was like, no, there are no reversible errors. You're done. Please stop wasting our fucking time. So
don't add us.
Don't fucking email us. Don't add us. I'm done. Sully spent decades on death row. Despite his heinous crimes, he maintained, this part was so weird. I read an article about this. He maintained an unusual connection with a man named Kent Nielsen. So when Kent was like a young teen, Warthog, he was working at a convenience store, like kind of gas station convenience store in Millbrae in 1969. And that's the same time that Sully was a cop in that area. So Sully would come into the store all the time, especially on like night shift and stuff, and was friendly with Kent and kind of like mentored him a little bit. And Kent was like, oh yeah, I was friendly with like all the cops who came in and got food and got gas or whatever. And always liked him. And then they see this newspaper article years later that's like,
can you imagine?
Hold up. Sully's a fucking serial killer. And instead of being like, oh shit, that's weird, bye, Kent and his wife started like writing him letters. They visited him every month.
Oh my God.
Like they became super, it was so weird. I'm like, why? Why? I mean, this article I read about it, that it's in my sources, they exchanged like, what, upwards of 400 letters? They literally went in person. I guess the first time Kent decided to go visit him, his wife didn't come, which I'm like, yeah, don't. And then he goes to visit him and he has a super nice visit, I guess. And then Sully is like, hey, next time bring your wife. Ew.
No, you are a serial killer and rapist.
So Kent did. And then they went every month.
Oh, what the fuck?
So weird, right? It's hard for me to not be judgmental in this scenario. Like, why? What are you getting out of this?
Was there any indication in any of your sources that he was somehow actually innocent of this?
No, there's no way.
So
there's no way he didn't do it.
It's not like the Justice for Samantha Harrer situation. Like,
no, he did it.
Like there's pushback.
But yeah, Kent and his wife regularly visited Sully for over 20 years and exchanged hundreds of letters. And despite their long-standing connection and Kent's certainty that Sully would have confided in him, so it's like he knows that he did it. But he never asked him why he committed the crimes and never broached the subject with him. They
what
just
a waste
didn't.
Of time.
They just didn't talk about it. So yeah, that was kind of frustrating to me. Where it's like he has never confessed. He's never given closure to these families, and you cultivated this relationship with him for over 20 years and just used it to continue protecting him and like making him comfortable. It didn't cross your mind to be like, hey man, can you level with me here? Like, we've been friends for a long time now. I'm not a
lawyer.
I'm
or
not a lawyer.
anything.
I'll keep coming. Like, I'm not gonna. I know what happened, and I'm still here. It rang so strange to me, that whole part. I don't get it.
They were in love.
I don't get it.
Maybe they were in love.
Maybe there was a throuple. Who knows? But it's just, that was so bizarre.
The women got the major short end of the stick in this episode.
They really did. Well, I mean,
down to that dude's wife having to come with him every fucking month.
But she also, she went every month for like 20 years. She made her choice too.
I know, unless she was forced to go.
I didn't get that impression. You can look at the article that I sourced if you're curious about it, but like,
maybe I'm just hoping she was forced to go, so I can make sense of this a little bit more.
I think she might have been like uncomfy at first, and then she participated in the letters and the visits, and he can't force her to go. It's something's off. It was really fucking weird.
Something is off.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
No.
So in prison, thank God, Sully fell ill from cancer and his health had been declining. And then on September 8th, 2023, at the age of 79, he fucking died of natural causes at a medical facility outside San Quentin. Because I think at that point, because he had been sentenced to death, but there had been like a commutation of like all death sentences in California for several years, and I think that is now changing under the administration. But Key just died on his own. Bye, bitch. Fuck you. The Marin County Coroner's Office officially notified Kent Nielsen as his emergency contact.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The Kent Nielsen of it all just weirds me the fuck out.
Kent.
Like,
I can't.
Why? He knew him when he was like a teenager. Then Sully left the force, went off to do his own thing. Kent hadn't seen him or talked to him in years, sees this article and thinks, I'm going to reach out.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know why. Why?
I don't get it. I don't know.
I don't either. It's so bizarre. Anyway, that's my fucking killer cop. Real piece of shit.
Killer cop.
And yeah, I mean, the pattern of like the domestic violence in their home against both of his wives, the threats on his stepdaughter with the fucking ducks.
The ducks.
Then targeting sex workers and people in the sex industry, as well as a drug dealer. Like, the only other person that he killed was his ex-girlfriend, who, as far as I know, was not engaged in sex work. So that was like the only spot where he really deviated from his pattern. So fucking shitty. And he knew that these were vulnerable populations that the cops were going to overlook. And had he not been, thank God, a complete fucking idiot, he probably could have gone undetected for a long time. I don't even want to think about how many more people could have died.
I bet he did, though, because we've talked about escalation.
It's very
I know
possible.
We had the duck thing, but like, if you spend that many years as a cop, you're gonna, and then you end up at the degree where he was. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked if he didn't victimize people throughout his career, at least to get a taste for it.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there were not, at minimum, rapes, sexual assaults, and violent assaults, even if they didn't result in murder, before all of this began.
You just don't go from killing, 7 or 8 people in a...
Yeah, 6 people.
Like a 5-month time span.
6 people in about 5 months. Mm-hmm.
Raping and murdering and torturing and strangling and killing with a sledgehammer. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't come out of nowhere.
Shooting people.
And it doesn't come out of killing some ducklings either.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, the duckling thing, that's indicative of shit's been going on. Mm-hmm. Shit's been going on for a while. I mean, and we know that because he was divorced twice for fucking abusing his wives. Like, that, I mean, yeah.
I was thinking more specifically as his tenure as a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
Yeah, it was a super scary case to read about and frustrating to read about because, again, he didn't provide much in terms of his own testimony. And so we don't really know what his early life was like or what might have triggered these violent behaviors in him. And then he maintained his innocence and then he fucking died of cancer. And his friend fucking Kent didn't have the wherewithal to be like, maybe I can get a little bit more information here so that I could maybe help bring some justice to all the people that he fucking killed. No, we're just going to go hang out once a month and I'll never fucking ask him about it. What?
Fucking Kent.
I can't.
I can't either.
Anyway, it disturbed me, so I had to tell you about it. Sorry.
I am so glad you did. Thank you so much to Ashley and Shelley for this incredible, long-awaited, very much long in the making episode.
Very informative.
You can also search for Justice for Samantha Harer. It's Harer on Facebook. They have a good Facebook group going. If you have any fucking information about that goddamn guy,
please.
Phil Flores. As far as I know, he's still a cop.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I hope I did your friend some justice. I hope we can raise some awareness and maybe make some breakthroughs in her case. Fuck Amanda's guy.
Oh my God. R.I. not in peace at all, Anthony Sully, you big fucking
R.I.C.
turd.
Chaos.
Rest in
Rotten chaos.
Rotten chaos. Rot in hail, Anthony Flores. No, I got them both mixed up. Anthony Sully. But also
Anthony Flores.
Rotten hell Phil, too. Fuck you, dude.
Fuck them all. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you stay safe out there when encountering officers of the law.
Yeah. Know your rights, which I didn't cover, but we covered a lot. So look it up.
That'll be under qualified immunity.
Never talk to cops. You don't fucking have to.
Yep. Just shut the fuck up.
Yep. Just shut the fuck up.
Join us over on Uncorked for ad-free episodes.
Yes, please. And bonus content. And we have a happy hour tonight as we record this, so.
God, I forgot about that. Okay. Everything's going to be fine.
We got this.
I can take a quick nap.
Yes, you can.
All right. Love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.